pick up to some reasonable popularity.
But nobody talks about the early days of consecration.
How can you succeed unless you have failed first? I militated against God, even wrote music against God.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the life of Sir Reuben Kigen.
How can you ever say God is a healer unless you were first sick? Everybody, no matter who they are, leaves a legacy. Everyone. The question is what kind? It's not only those who've been singing Christian songs that have impacted me. And my favorite line, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. Even when we go into Kenyan politics and we see all that is happening and so on. For example, because I believe in the good of the people, for example, just to give you a quick example, I believe that I should do good to you, okay? So there's absolutely no way I can impose punitive taxes on you. No.
To have faith in God, you really have a solid anchor. God never changes, this way, that way. It says He's the same yesterday, today, and forever.
Walk a journey of, first of all, understanding what do we call a legacy?
Yeah, great. So let's just break it down and simplify it and say legacy is what you leave behind for others. Yeah, it's like the backsheet. What is left of you to move forward or as you depart from this world. So there are certain things you say, certain things you do, certain places you go to that have got to do with legacy. And legacy is about impact, how you touch lives. And you can have a positive legacy or a negative legacy. Okay? So you can have a good impact or a bad impact. Everybody, no matter who they are, leaves a legacy. Everyone. The question is what kind? Yeah. Everybody. There's nobody who is legacyless. No. Now, some of it is known, some of it is not known in terms of public status. But every mother leaves a legacy in the family. Every sister, if you have a sister or a brother or a nephew or a cousin, they leave a legacy. Your teachers leave a legacy. The cooks. Yeah. Up to today, I'm sure you can talk about your high school cook. Yeah. So there's something they did, whatever they do, whatever we do has like an echo effect. Mwangui. So as you move swimming pool, so you have those bubbles, what do you call them? It's like if you leave something behind, somebody has passed here. So that is what legacy is all about. And it has got to do with someone's identity and purpose. Who are you and what are you called to do? Are you doing it or not? Even a lazy person leaves a legacy. Yes. You can grow up in a village and move out of that village, but you will be remembered for something. You can go to a particular high school or primary school or college and you will be remembered for something.
That's true.
So the question is what? When you look at young people today, 18, 25, 30, by the time you get to 18 or 20, you have those many years behind you. So some people in the village remember you as the one who ukiona kitu cha mtu umechukua, you know. So some people know some people as thieves. Ule usiache kitu hapo atapita nacho, you know. Yeah, there are some people who are known as having been the most sexually active, so they made every girl they met pregnant, including incestuous relationships, just to control what is behind the trouser. So you have people like that. So kuna watu wanajulikana tu kama prostitutes, kama drunkards, kama, I mean, and it's not like people like to call them that. They earn it. You earn because of how you live. Kuna wale wanaitwa mdomo bagi, you know, anything you say, you know, you want to say, you just say it. So no control. So there are people who are known to be so prayerful, you know, kila asubuhi, like my mother. Every 5 a.m. she's up praying, you know, and I can still hear her voice in my ear, you know. So my mother left the legacy of prayer in me. That is her life, okay? But every time I feel weak in terms of praying, I say, hey, but my mother managed. So you look at that, and you know, you can go at teachers who punished students really badly, matatu drivers who drive badly. Everybody leaves a legacy. So the question is, what type? I really like something in 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 6 to 8. That is what I would call a good legacy passage in the Bible. Paul is writing to his spiritual son, Timothy. And let me just punctuate here and say, at one time, Paul talks about the faith that was in the grandmother of Timothy. That's Lois, and then in mother Eunice. So there's something, that faith, you know, that was there. So he's writing to his spiritual son Timothy and says, I'm being poured out like a drink offering. You know, Paul is saying that in verse 6. Being poured out like a drink offering. And the time of my departure has come. So it must be that he's at the end of his life. My life is and then he says, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. And I have kept the faith. Yeah. And then he says, and ahead of me is a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, you know, who is just, will award to me, and not only to me, but also to all those who love his appearing. 3 powerful verses. Yes, I'm being poured out, my time is coming to an end, but I fought a good fight, finished the race, kept the faith. And then what? The future crown of righteousness. Now, so when you bring that into the legacy discussion, we all live, but life comes to an end. So Paul is saying, my life is being poured out. You know, if you pour water on this ground, you can't quite pick it up again the same way. So our life comes to an end, and we will be poured out. Utaisha too. You know, there used to be a funny song that went, forever young, I want to be forever young. You know, nobody can be forever young. You know, that means being in diapers forever. No. So nobody can be forever young. We all grow old. You know, the good faces, the beauty, and all that fades. Now, it means that life is an allotment. It's like a loan you are given. So it's how you use it. And how you use it determines the kind of legacy. So Paul says, with regard to the struggles, the challenges, you know, he's fought the good fight, he's overcome. With regard to his assignment, he's finished what the Lord wanted him to do. He finished the race.
Mhm.
And in terms of truth and faithfulness, he's kept the faith.
Mhm.
He's been true.
Mhm.
Now, if you found somebody who wins battles, who finishes what he needs to do,
Mhm.
and is truthful, preserves the faith, is accountable, you can entrust stuff with him.
Mhm.
That is a person of legacy.
Mhm.
That is a powerful legacy.
Mhm.
No wonder Paul wrote nearly half the New Testament.
Mhm. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Most of those epistles
Mhm.
are by him. And he did so much to take Christianity to the Gentile world, etc., just like Jesus wanted to be done.
Mhm.
So that's someone who dies happy,
Mhm.
peaceful, unalala vizuri, unaimaliza maisha vizuri.
Mhm.
But if you leave a negative legacy, you don't fight the good fight, you don't finish the race, you don't keep the faith, then you die a very miserable person. Miserable. Kuna watu wanakufa mwishowe, they're just groaning, everybody is sad, But there are funerals of some people that are like celebrations. Yeah. Because unaangalia tu ni success, But it's not because it was easy. They fought. You can't have a good fight without exertion. So I love that passage because it gives me perspective. Um, when I was writing the song Vita Vizuri, nimevipiga vita vizuri, mwendo wangu nimeumaliza, nayo imani nimeilinda, natarajia kupewa taji na Bwana. When you finish well, you have no regrets. In your faith and so on, you can go to bed at night and sleep. Otherwise, if you have been stealing from people, taking advantage of people, and so on, you always have to beef up your security. You have to sort of hide, or get some lies in order to cover up other lies. You are always busy. Your mind is just busy acting and crafting. But if you've not stolen from somebody or taken advantage of someone, you just go to bed and it is in tamu sana, for those who live a positive legacy. Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot we can say,
Now, you
but
mentioned-
every legacy. Maybe let me just say one last thing. Every legacy is fired up by mentorship. Yeah. You see, like Paul was looking up to Jesus, the author and finisher of the faith, the one who will give the crown, etc., the one who calls the shots. That's why we call him Jesus, our Lord, our Master, because he calls the shots. And so I too look to Jesus as my mentor. I look to Paul as my mentor. So there is no mentorless success. Yeah. I'm a byproduct of authors and musicians and teachers and politicians or activists that have crafted a very nice legacy. For example, in activism, I follow after Martin Luther, the reformer, and also Martin Luther King Jr., the one of the states. Dietrich Bonhoeffer from Germany, Nelson Mandela, Thomas Sankara. You have these people that have made an indelible mark in terms of leadership and activism. Look at Mother Teresa. In music, someone like Keith Green, and then you have Itani Madima in South Africa. In the States, you have some great country artists. So all over the place, there are inspirations all over. And even as a Christian, I must say, in terms of talent or skill, it's not only those who've been singing Christian songs that have impacted me in terms of, how to either play the guitar or how to play the keyboard, how to arrange music. I'll give you an example. There's one song that called Pussy Choking. Yes, my last album. I never knew what Paris drums were. Okay, until I listened to the music of Franco. Luambo Luango Mapia. Okay. I never knew how to use saxophone arrangements in my music until I listened to Hugh Masekela from South Africa, and there's someone called Green. Then from Congo, I listened to Barkeys, and so I listened to Benga here, Dio, Misiani. In terms of activism, I listened to Kamaru's music and how he engaged, especially liberation and stuff like that. I've listened to Bob Marley and seen how he arranges his reggae. So I don't have to adopt the Rastafarian message, but there are also certain songs that someone like Bob Marley sings that are perfect liberation texts. Like redemption, song, all pirates. You look at that passion, and my favorite line, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energy. You have these. So what is unchristian about that? Unless you want mental slavery. See? So there are what you call neutral lyrics, and then of course there are lyrics I would never care for. For example, I don't do bedroom music and stuff like that, because I believe that is something private between me and my wife. So I would say I am a product of mentors that have brought me to where I am with legacy.
So now you've mentioned something that maybe captures the second question that I'm going to ask. What does it take to make a legacy? You have painted to us and you've given us, and actually you really opened my mind actually to something that it is not only good legacy, there is also bad legacy. Yes, but I want you now to maybe walk us a journey of understanding what does it take to make a good legacy and a strong legacy for that matter.
I have not thought deeply about this to give you, principles and things that I can outline for you, but suffice it to include, for example, consistency. If you've been doing something for a long time and you do it consistently, you are quite likely going to be a legacy because you'll be known by that consistency. So, for example, I've had Sifa Voices as a group for about 30 years. Yeah, most groups break up very easily. And it's not because it's the same people, because some die, some get married, some move on, some one or two maybe backslid. But Sifa Voices becomes a brand primarily because of consistency. It was there in 1996, it's there right now as you talk to me. So consistency. Then, for example, back in high school, I was against bullying. I was against lies. I was against people taking advantage of each other, So I fought for the opposite of those in high school. But I did it in college. I do it now. So that means you can't change me on my principles. Yeah. Hata ukate damu kidogo itoke, itatoka na consistency ya I believe in truth, I believe in justice, I believe in cleanliness, I believe in good talk, I believe in love, You can't change me on that. So even when we go into Kenyan politics and we see all that is happening and so on, for example, because I believe in the good of the people, for example, just to give you a quick example, I believe that I should do good to you. Okay? So there's absolutely no way I can impose punitive taxes on you. No. Utafute wapi, hata uniweke kwa government, hata unitoe. There's no way I can make a law that will make my brother or sister or my son to suffer, or the son of somebody else. Haitafanyika because I don't believe in it. You get it? And when I see people telling lies, uongo, I feel horrible because in me, I believe telling the truth all the time is important. And I should never lie to my friends or to anybody. So, when you see me agitated, it's not because I'm looking for office. No, it's because those things are provoking my principles. Yeah? Which takes me to, for legacy, you've got to stand for something. Yeah. Yeah. You've got to stand for something, or like the country singer said, or you'll fall for anything. Yeah. Yeah. So, even if you used the Bible to tell lies, I'll tell you off. Yeah. It doesn't make it right because you say God said, or Jesus said, or the church, even if you are a pastor. And that's why I fell into trouble with evangelist Benny Hinn. I know many people say, you're criticizing the men of God. I'm not criticizing them. No. But if you teach something that is contrary to what the Bible that you say you believe in teaches, I will tell you off. Yes. Because you've got to stand for something. Yeah. You have to be a person of principle to leave a legacy. I want to be known, for example, as someone you could not compromise. Yeah. I want, if you could write something on my tombstone, yeah, you could write something like Reuben the uncompromisable. You can't bend me. You can't buy me. Even in politics, they try to give me money. I refused. Yes. So, principles. You have to be a person of principles.
And also there is something that you mentioned, and that I really believe that is something that also contributes to legacy. I just want to take you back to something you talked about. You're not somebody who is limited to what people do say.
No. In fact, you take the good and you get to the bad. There's good things that people will tell you. So you need to have like a fruitometer or something. You measure as long as it's good or acceptable. If it's not, no. So it is very hard to be moved by what society thinks or believes or says. That's one reason I don't like this statement, everybody is doing it. Because it's a lie. Not everybody is doing it. Yeah. Not everybody is lying. Not everybody is sleeping around.
That's true.
Yeah. You can't say that's what you. There's someone that Tuko, the Tuko news on social media. They put out a post recently, and there's a gentleman that wrote there and said, that no Christian leader has a stable marriage. Yeah. I just wrote back and said, not true. I'd finished. It's not true. The fact that you have a challenge in marriage doesn't mean it's stable. No. So there are things people parade out there, like you cannot be pure sexually. I mean, I know virgin. So if I was to leave one thing for a young person, you don't have to do what everybody is doing or believe what everybody is. No, you can stand out, and that's how you do that.
And also, is a life of being a radical also does it contribute to leaving a strong legacy?
Radical is both positive and negative. Nobody sets out to be radical. I mean, let me rephrase. Nobody, I think, decides I'm going to be a radical. No, you find yourself as a radical. It's something you discover. Because if you take a stand, then people interpret you to be a radical. But what is radical? It's just not doing what everybody is doing, or having a strong stand, or having the guts to say no. Yeah. In a world where everybody says yes, 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 if you say no, you become a radical. Yeah. But you look at the life of Daniel, for example, that decided he would not defile himself with the food of the king's table in Babylon. You look at Joseph, he was jailed because of taking a stand against lack of chastity, and the lies of Potiphar's house. You have young men like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And of course, the best example is Jesus. You have those people that took a stand against the grain, Yeah, yeah.
No, now transitioning now this conversation into a point now. How do you consistently remain at the top, or how do you consistently remain relevant? Because I believe also in the making of a strong legacy, there is also the aspect of being at the top in what you do. Okay, it's not a must that you be at the top for you to leave a legacy, but then a strong or a popular or a public legacy for that matter. Now, how do you consistently keep on being relevant or being at the top in what you do?
So, first of all, I've never known what it is.
All right.
Yeah, because it's not a pursuit. I don't think anybody popular sets out to be popular. It takes you by surprise. Actually, it's people who talk about, Kigame, you are really a good role model. You're my mentor. Whatever. I don't know what that is actually, except to listen and say, if that is what you mean, yeah. Because even if it's about going up, ascending the ladder, for example, I have never had it in my mind that I would love to be this great president of Kenya, the top power, No. I approach presidency with service. I want that position so that I can call the shots to change the lives of people. Yeah. I desire to be able to make rules or decisions that positively impact other people. Because it's a temporary assignment, maybe 5 years, maybe 10, if you're lucky. The question is not having a title. There was President Kagame or President so and so. It's useless. I mean, now Kibaki is just a name. Moi is just a name. Kenyatta is just a name. Soon Ruto will just be a name. The issue is what legacy? What do you leave behind? But to be able to leave a legacy, you have to have purpose.
Close and finalization, we have built up this conversation to a point whereby we have understood that it is important to build a legacy, not only building a legacy, but a legacy that will stand over time.
Yeah.
And we are also speaking about how do we ensure that we consistently remain at the top. So maybe just to pick up that conversation from how do you consistently remain at the top, and now that you are at the top, how do you ensure that you do not fall?
So I think this is where my faith as a Christian comes in. There's no way I can answer that question without my faith. So first of all, to have faith in God, you really have a solid anchor. God never changes, this way, that way. Says he's the same yesterday, today, and forever. Let everyone be true. God remains, let every man be false, but let God be true. So there's a way the consistency of God informs the success that that a Christian can have in terms of legacy. The world will keep changing and the standards will keep shifting. Today something looks true, tomorrow it's considered false. Today Pluto is a planet, tomorrow it's not a planet. You see, that's how the world comes. It's like shifting shadows. But James says that God does not change. You know, the word of God never changes. It's not like shifting shadows. So to ensure that you actually succeed in leaving a legacy, then anchor your life in the unchanging God. It's the same thing with music. For example, people ask, so why is it your music lasts from 1987, you can still listen to it and so on. There's no magic to it, really. Jesus said heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. When I was growing up, we used to sing Tawala Kenya, Tawala, Raisi Moi, Tawala Kenya, Tawala, you know. But can you sing that to Kenyatta or Ruto? No. And where is Moi? He's dead and buried. So he ruled Kenya for a long time, but he's nowhere. So the word of God stays the same. It will never change. Heaven and earth will pass away. The word remains there. So if you want your songs to last, anchor them in the word. Sing the word. Yeah, because the word never changes. And it's no respecter of culture, cycles of life, status in society. No. It's the same. The next thing is living with a purpose. Without a purpose, you cannot leave a legacy, because what will you be working towards? You wake up every morning knowing that you're building towards something. This is what you are. This is what you want. And constantly working at your purpose or fulfilling your purpose will certainly leave a legacy behind. Another thing is the issue of consistency. I mentioned that if you are not consistent, then people will not know you for a particular thing. So today you are this, tomorrow you are the other, you keep changing. If you are consistent, then people can associate you with something. So if you're truthful, then people call you a truthful person. But most of all, I think what can really make you leave a legacy is character. A good legacy, that is. Good character is like sweet ointment. It's like, like a sweet fragrance, sweet smell. And there is a sense in which we are letters, as Paul says. We are letters being read by the world. So our character, as someone says, is like fragrance. You can't hide it. People will know your legacy by the kind of character you live. Yeah. And so at the end of the day, it's not so much what you're doing, but what you leave behind that is well done. Yeah.
Now in closing, what do you feel like after some years you mentioned as your legacy, like as Reuben Kigame, this is what I'm working on, and at one point in time, this is what I would like to have been mentioned as my legacy?
A couple of things. I'll just put it this way. If you were to write something on my gravestone, I would propose you write Reuben Kigame, servant of God, and then there are two Latin words I'm going to give you. Contra mundus. Contra is like against or contrary. Mundus is like the world or the mundane. So that was what was written on the tombstone of one of my people that I admire most, called Justin Martyr. Against the world. Against the world. I am against anything that is not of God, that does not build, that destroys, anything that takes advantage, any lie, any evil, any exploitation. I am against That. And consistently so. You can't move me, you can't change me, you can't dissuade me. As the young men used to say, I am unbogable. That you can't boggle me. As long as I'm following Christ, hata nikibaki peke yangu nitaenda tu. So yeah, the easiest way to put it is uncompromisable. Yeah, you can't buy me, I don't have a price tag. They've tried. Hawataweza. Yeah.
Now, and in closing now, I want you to talk to our audience, especially now the young generation. Somebody's trying to build themselves up. There is an aim that they can be able to see. But in some way, somebody is so impatient to wait for the end. Somebody is so impatient to wait on God. Somebody really desires the goal, somebody desires the glory, but nobody is ready to take up the energy or the consecration that comes with the glory. So maybe as we just continue, maybe as we close this conversation, talk to someone very enthusiastic, very burning in themselves, I want to become.
Yeah. It is so simple. There is no success or good legacy without sacrifice. Yeah. You've got to pay the price for something. If you want gold, you pay money for gold. You want a good woman, you've got to pay the price. Stay chaste yourself and look for someone who's chaste, someone of character. So you've got to pay that. You want a degree, you go to school.
Sure.
You want to be a successful athlete, you've got to discipline yourself and train and get good at your game. So shortcuts will never get you anywhere. There's no way. This culture of instant everything, unfortunately, there's nothing like instant success. Yeah. And I don't think there's anything like instant legacy living. No. You've got to work at it. You've got to sweat. You've got to get dirty. Yeah. You've got to pay the price. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much for your time and the conversation that we have had today.
No, thank you.
Personally, I may say it's something that has really impacted me. I cannot imagine how many more people who are waiting for such a thing, whose their lives are impacted by this conversation. Thank
That's
you so
my
much.
prayer too.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate for that.
Asante.
What a conversation that we have had. I cannot be able to talk in its entirety of how impactful the conversation is. And if at all you've not learned or picked something from this conversation, man, I don't know how to explain much further what should be done. And for that reason, we have had a very impactful conversation with someone who has authored very many books. Part of them, this one that is called Christian Apologetics Through the African Eye, written by Reuben Kigame, and also essays in African Christianity and Theology. Just to mention but a few, a song book also for Reuben Kigame, for the songs that he has written since 1982. Basically, this is what I'm saying, that if at all you're not picking out wisdom from every other thing that you mentioned today, then I don't know how to explain it all. So until next time, my name is Alan Gitao. Like, share, subscribe, and keep it the Bench Conversations Podcast.